Alright, so happy new year. I hope you guys had a great holiday season because, well, in the nicest way possible, it might be getting a lot worse. So, if you watched my last video, you already know the basics. The job market right now sucks because companies stopped hiring, entry-level jobs are disappearing, and applying feels like throwing your resume into a black hole. Post-COVID layoffs flooded the job market, outsourcing shrank opportunities, and worst of all, AI quietly replaced work, especially the first step of the ladder. You know, the stuff that new grads used to do? Now here's the thing, that was a setup. That's why the job market is bad right now. Just a couple of days ago, Geoffrey Hinton, often called the godfather of AI, warned that job losses due to AI will probably significantly accelerate in 2026 as these models only get better and even more capable of more complex tasks. So in this video, I want to see, is this actually a real risk? And moreover, I also want to talk about what actually happens next. So when I talk to older people, boomers, or even look on social media like Twitter or Reddit, there's still this narrative that AI one day, eventually, someday, might affect jobs. But here's the thing, that day, it's been happening. And AI didn't come for the CEOs, it didn't come for the executives, it came for entry-level work. And I'm somebody who knows this from personal experience, being somebody who's graduating in a couple months, having applied to over 250 entry-level roles, and pretty much losing my own career path to AI, but that's another video for another day. Right now, the jobs that are supposed to give you experience and teach you how your field works, like basic research, bookkeeping and data management, first drafts, junior coding, scheduling, admin work, customer service, well, companies, they pretty much realized that they could just give AI tools to a senior employee for a fraction of the cost and just not even have to hire juniors. Which is why right now, as I mentioned before, the job market is brutal. And it's not because we're unqualified. Rather, it's because the jobs that used to train us, well, they don't exist anymore thanks to the great, magnificent artificial intelligence. And I'm not just making up some BS to scare all of you. Trust me, I wish I was. But companies like Amazon, Microsoft, HP, Salesforce, and so many more, they all laid off tens of thousands of workers and cited AI in their layoff processes. Now here's where things start to change going into 2026, and probably, unfortunately, not for the better. If AI stays stuck at junior level tasks like it already is right now, it would be bad. But unfortunately, AI is not even stopping just there. We're now seeing AI start to summarize legal and financial documents, produce code that almost works, generate actual usable designs, generate video, voice, and ads, which we'll get into in a minute. And also, even a 2025 MIT labor simulation found that AI systems could replace about 11.7% of the US workforce at a competitive cost, meaning that right now, this AI threat isn't just some abstract future threat. It's already here, but this also means that AI is no longer just replacing entry-level jobs, but it's starting to come for more middle management and specialized roles as well. And when AI goes for that middle-level task, it doesn't just remove one job. It pushes that worker downward into the market. So as a new grad, you're not just competing with other new grads, you also have to compete with people with years of experience, credentials, and portfolios that just got laid off from a job that was way above you. Now there's this great example I saw a couple weeks ago. So I don't know if you saw this, but there's this new McDonald's Netherlands ad that was made for the holidays, and it was made entirely with AI. Now, I don't blame you if you didn't see it, and it's not just because it got deleted later, but even if you did see it, you could not tell it was AI. I mean, I'm obsessed with this stuff, and I couldn't tell. And neither could my friends or family. And this was McDonald's, one of the biggest brands on earth. They decided to pursue going for an ad with no film crew, no animators, no junior creatives, no CGI or editors or any of those VFX guys, no assistants learning the crafts. McDonald's didn't pay a 30 to 40 person film crew, pay them all, support the local economy and all of that. Rather, they just had a couple of dudes sit in some office, write some prompts, and call it a day. And other brands are also following suit. I mean, a local pizza chain, Fresh Slice Pizza in Vancouver, BC, where I live, almost completely uses AI-generated images for their marketing material. I mean, it's not only nuts, but it doesn't even look good, and they still decide to use it. Because here's the thing, AI doesn't have to be better than humans, it just has to be cheaper, faster, and well, legal. And once companies realize that they can get 80, heck, even 60% of the quality for 10% of the cost, they don't go back. And remember, AI going into 2026 and even further years is going to only get better. A good example of this is the Will Smith spaghetti test, where every year people create a benchmark of an AI video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. Weird choice, I know, but here's 2023, here's 2024, and here's 2025. Chat, we're so cooked. And once AI enters the job market, it completely not only removes entry-level roles, it also starts to compress mid-level roles, and it increases competition everywhere, and it raises hiring standards without raising anybody's pay. So even if AI doesn't take everybody's job, it still makes the whole market a lot worse, because fewer job openings plus more qualified applicants just means longer job searches, lower wages, and a higher chance of you being underemployed, essentially working in something irrelevant to all of your education and experience. So like, I don't know, getting a computer science degree from Berkeley and working at McDonald's or something? I don't know, I wouldn't even doubt it. But this is why, especially going into 2026, for a lot of us, it's starting to feel like we're doing everything right and still getting nowhere. It's not because we're failing, but especially going into 2026, it's starting to feel like the path is narrowing. Now, here's the honest part. I don't know how far AI is going to progress. Nobody does. Well, except for Elon Musk and Sam Altman and all those guys, I guess. But there's a real possibility that a lot of these companies are going to start to realize that AI hallucinates, it's unreliable, it needs constant oversight, and overall, it's just not a great investment for a lot of people. And maybe, just maybe, they decide that hiring people is better. And I'll be completely fair, there is a lot of companies that are already doing this. I mean, I believe that Porsche just launched an ad, and it was standing out because it was completely human-made, and people love that. But here's the problem. Most companies are stingy. Most companies aren't Porsche, they're lazy. And once these companies have cut labor costs, they don't like putting them back. And even if AI kind of sucks, it might still be good enough to avoid hiring. And honestly, I really hope I'm wrong, but looking at the stats, I don't think I am. Now here's another real danger going into 2026. If AI starts erasing the bottom of the ladder and even starts chipping away at the middle of the ladder, you don't get this future utopia promised to us by all these guys like Elon Musk. You get a society of a small group of people who own all the systems, a shrinking group of highly specialized workers just clinging on to AI not taking over their jobs eventually, and everybody else at the bottom fighting for fewer and fewer jobs. That's not innovation, and it's especially brutal for our generation that's just trying to start. Now here's another thing. When you talk about AI and jobs, somebody's always jumping in with, well, AI actually creates jobs. And well, yeah, technically, that's true. Every major technological shift creates some new roles. We've seen that in the past during times like the Industrial Revolution too, and here we have some new jobs too. You have jobs like AI trainers, prompt engineers, safety researchers, infrastructure engineers. These jobs all definitely exist, but there's a part that people conveniently skip. More jobs are destroyed than created, especially in these early and middle stages of automation, where we're at right now. This is especially true for routine white-collar work, and the jobs that are created tend to be, well, fewer in number, highly specialized, and they require you to have a lot of experience, and you have to have a lot of these credentials, and overall, that doesn't really help for somebody who's like me, who's 22, a new grad, and just trying to get a first real entry-level role. And then there's also the timing problem. Jobs don't disappear and reappear at the same time. AI can quickly eliminate thousands of roles within the snap of a finger, and new roles, well, they don't come as easily. They take years to standardize, regulate, and scale. So even if AI eventually creates jobs, and I'll be completely fair here, it probably will, that doesn't mean that the transition is completely one-to-one as people love to say. So clearly the job market in 2026 is more likely than not to be screwed. I really hope I'm wrong, but what should we make of that? Well, unfortunately, this is about to start sounding like an episode of the Black Mirror or the Wall-E movie. I don't know if you guys watched that as a kid. Great movie though. But if AI keeps removing work faster than the economy can replace it, governments don't really have a lot of options. And that's why suddenly nowadays you're hearing a lot of serious discussions about things like UBI, Universal Basic Income. A few years ago, this stuff was, well, it was pretty fringe. And now you're seeing a lot of this show up in policy papers, pilot programs, and election platforms. And this isn't just because politicians are all of a sudden generous, but because society is built to function on the assumption that people have jobs, that people make money. I mean, taxes, healthcare, pensions, the economy, all of it depends on people working. And now fewer people can find stable work, so the entire system starts to shake. So yeah, as much as I personally hate to say it, maybe UBI and other social programs are right around the corner. And I say I hate to say it because even if they arrive, they're not some clean fix. They don't replace careers, they don't replace purpose, they don't replace upward mobility or this aspiration to work harder and be more successful. And needing them isn't a sign of progress as many may say, rather it's a sign that the labor market, well, it completely failed to adapt in time, and maybe it might not ever adapt. So what do we make of all this? Well, what I see here is that in 2026, AI doesn't need to destroy every job to ruin the job market. It just needs to remove training rules, increase competition, and also give companies an excuse not to hire us. And the worst part is 2026 hasn't even started yet, and that's exactly what AI is already doing. And sure, maybe AI and all this tech eventually plateaus and stops getting better at such a rapid pace, and maybe companies even reverse course. Sure, maybe this actually slows down. But heading into 2026, the safer assumption, unfortunately, is that the pressure continues. And the people who feel it first are unfortunately going to be us. You know, Gen Z, entry-level workers, new grads. So yeah, I think I'm cooked. That being said, subscribe, please. Thanks. See you guys next time.